here?
It was certainly very interesting. I mean, it was...
when you say interesting...
Yeah. Well, obviously, you know, Bloodstock Radio has now changed premises somewhat. And it certainly has. And it's now based in deepest, darkest, the wilds of Shoreditch. Thoroughly trendy, absolutely wonderful. But
here we now are, having to wade through hipsters.
Oh, well, yeah, I know. Yeah. The crowds outside, what can I say?
Exactly.
But you did come to the right premises, I'm taking it.
We've come to the right premises, yes. Yeah,
you
at
didn't
last
take a detour.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry for being late. No, I've decided that it's important to dress properly, so, you know, because it's radio and everything.
Always dress properly.
I thank you. I decided that given it is the medium of radio, I thought I might wear the most garish tie that I could to be as facetious as possible.
Well, you know... the other webcam's disappeared. Oh, you're quite welcome.
We have a webcam.
Yeah,
fantastic.
There are two.
Right in Ewan's face.
I'll choose. You two can work out where best to place.
We'll do that. Okay.
And then people can see your wonderful outfits and faces.
So we've.
You are the known as the gentleman of death metal or such.
That's what has been. Yeah, that's what sort of caught on recently, which is quite fun. I mean, I enjoy it. It's a nice thing to be called. There are worse things to be called, and we've certainly been called worse things. But,
what's the worst, or are you not going to tell me?
Oh, well, I mean, the most humorous we got was that we looked like evil snooker players.
Lucky that drink didn't go into the desk then.
Gotcha. Yeah, we had that, and then we had satanic waiters, you know.
Satanic waiters?
Everything like that. But well, no, we've done it. I mean, by the way, everyone should know this is half of us, I'm afraid. It's myself, Hal, and Ewan. Hello.
It's a very clever trick to be able to do half of you.
It's a clever one, isn't it? Because the other half is cunningly concealed. Our bassist stuff is in Las Vegas, and rather less glamorously, our drummer Joe is in historic Winchester, where he lives.
Oh, it was just too far to travel.
Well, there's a cathedral there, you know. What
are you suggesting? He's sitting praying?
Yeah, it's quite possible.
Nice cathedral.
It's bloody nice cathedral. No, he won't be praying right now. Oh. No,
he might be. He might be praying for you.
Certainly true.
Now he's put you in the room with me. Anything could happen. Anything at all. Well, I'm going to ask you to pick not only some of your own tracks, but some other people's tracks, that kind of thing, you know.
Excellent.
But I think since you've been with us before, I think you know how it all goes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So you're not planning to run away before the end of the show?
No, well, I mean, if happy with you, then it would be an honour to stay on.
Oh, always a pleasure for me to have you here.
Yeah.
So, I found some of your tracks. I think I'm just going to kind of randomly load one and see what happens.
It's a fine approach.
Yeah, well, it is on Anarchy on the Airwaves. Yeah, it kind of, you know, it has to be that way. And sometimes you find that when you press play, it's not even you. Let's find out. Usual version you've got there.
What you're now going to have is a bunch of people thinking like, my God, these guys are really progressive.
Yeah, it's a new way. It's either your vinyl was jumping.
Yeah, I think the ravages of digital transference there. I mean, we unfortunately what you were hearing there is a rather skippy version of skippy version, not the excited Australian type, but more the sort of slightly destroyed CD jumping around version of Fortune Worth Its Disguise, which we released in 2011 off the Waskkeeper. But it doesn't normally sound like that. Normally, it's
This doesn't usually happen to me, honest.
This doesn't normally happen, right? Apparently it's got to happen to everyone at least once in their life.
I think it has to, yeah. Was it really that you did that to stop people recording it off the radio so they have to buy it?
God, now that would be that's like self-sabotage for the point of sales. Wow. Oh, my God.
There's always a possibility. Anyway, you need to tell us all what you've been up to since you were last with us, which was quite a while
back. It was, in fact, quite a while. In fact, funnily enough, linked to that, the last time that we were here, I or your lovely assistant at the time managed to film various parts of the interview, which now feature, they're a major component in the making of video for Corpseflower, which we just released as a new vinyl. And you can only see that if you actually, cunningly, talking about self-sabotage for sales, you can only see the making of if you buy the vinyl, because it's got a hidden link to this sort of video online. So
that's just weird.
I know, it's kind of, yeah.
The kids, right, are going to get the vinyl and be trying to put it in their DVD player, trying to figure out how to get to that.
Well, I've been looking at it this way. For those that don't necessarily really fully understand or get the kind of mystique that is vinyl, I mean, you got to look at it in a different way, which is that basically...
There will be some.
There will be plenty.
Some people that have never, ever...
There'll be people who don't understand how it works. So just be like, where does the lasers go? Which, in this, the best way to look at it is that because you get it as a digital download as well, look at it as a really big, thick, heavy, black plastic version of a backup disc.
Got anything to say on that?
What's a backup disc?
We were born in the age. Actually, you know, it's come to think about that, like people's age and everything like that. You know, obviously with recent events, with Baroness Thatcher's death and everything like that.
You're just really nice about her, aren't you? You like her, don't you?
No. Now here we go into no.
I can tell.
I'm not.
You're just so respectful about everybody.
I'm not.
Tell us people you're really disrespectful about.
Simon Cowell, I have absolutely no.
But let's get to him after Thatcher.
After that.
Is he worse than Thatcher for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No,
I didn't think there was anybody. But anyway,
yeah.
tell us where you are on the Thatcher thing.
I mean, obviously, it's a divisive subject. It's about a divisive person. I'm not absolutely 100% a sympathiser for her by any means, but I sort of straddle a fence on sort of, which is an enormously uncomfortable thing to do when it comes to Thatcher, but or any time, in fact. But I sort of
Thatcher apologist.
No, it's a situational apologist. The whole thing I'm fascinated by at the moment is the amount of people who are now coming out onto social networks saying, like, some social media and everything, saying that, oh, well, I was born at no time, or, you know, for instance, there was a really, really good piece that was written recently by Russell Brand.
Yes.
Yeah, and he wrote...
can write?
I don't usually like him when he talks, but he's quite good when he writes.
That's where I've been going wrong.
Well, the thing is, yeah, I must admit, I'm not really totally au fait with him, and I don't get what he is or does, but he's recently has shone a little bit. He has this talk show that he had a debate with these the
Westboro Baptist Church.
Yeah, that was it. And he did really well with it, and I was quite surprised with it. And then this piece he did recently in the...
Can you give us a bit of insight?
It revealed his own insight towards sort of secularism and everything, which he is. I mean, seemingly, well, he's more agnostic atheist, I'd say. Would you say?
Yeah,
you watched it in length.
I did watch it. Yeah, I think, to be fair for him, I used to not particularly be a fan of Russell Brand, but I think he's just calmed down a bit recently, and he's become a bit more sort of sensible. Yeah, in that Westboro Baptist Church thing, he was just a very good kind of moderator, and he actually seemed to be trying to understand what it was they were trying to say. Obviously, as reprehensible as they are to most people, he was still trying to understand them and see what makes them tick, which I think is a valuable thing to do, even if you're never going to agree with them.
What did he uncover?
Well, what's not to uncover with the WBO? I mean, it's
I
more
didn't hear it though, so I want to know.
They are an organisation that thrive absolutely on scandalous activity, and when I say scandalous, I mean as in with their background, but also what they say. You know, they're reliant entirely on being sensationalist. So he wasn't really trying to uncover maximum sensationalism, but more just discussed more on their level, which was fascinating because it's quite disarming. But what he did do in this recent piece for I think The Guardian, was it? The Guardian. It revealed that actually he's a rather cognizant and sentient writer, which is surprising because I haven't read My Bookie Wook, which is his most recent tome.
The title would put you off if you wanted somebody with some...
It really does, yeah, absolutely. But this piece he wrote was it was an essay on it, and it turns out he was born the year that Thatcher came into reign, as it were, into office. I was born in 1980, so I was born obviously just that little bit into her reign. I'll say it again, but you know,
you were born into her. No wonder you've never got over
exactly. It. But the thing is, I mean, I remember the ravages of what she did. I also remember some of the highest amounts of profits that, the UK had experienced in many
By
a
selling
year.
off the family silver.
By selling off the family, absolutely. I mean, every action had its terrible consequence.
Well,
I think the thing
we're seeing it now with the bedroom tax. Sold off all the council housing, now you got a bedroom tax.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Is I think it doesn't particularly matter if you weren't alive or if you were very young at the time. A lot of what she did kind of carries on into today. So I think it's still valid if you actually know what you're talking about.
Are you two on the same page with it, or are you?
I don't know.
Actually, to be honest, it's a funny thing, isn't it? As four people in this band, we've obviously had cursory discussion on a political level. In fact, no, actually, because we have a fairly involved discussion, haven't we, on the tour bus?
Things.
Yeah, on some things. But we've never really made it abundantly clear, not only to each other but also publicly, where we stand politically, because we're in. I mean, I think I'm safe in saying inherently we're very much not a political band, despite the irony being that the song we just tried to play there, "Fortune Worth Its Disguise," is like the only political song I've ever written lyrically.
Because it skipped a bit. What was it saying?
It's a somewhat thinly veiled attack on the concept of inheritance tax, which I will be honest enough to say, as I think is one of the greater mistakes and potential evils of the modern political system that we have currently within England. I think it's a sick thing to tax people. If you think about, this could be anyone from that was a right to buy. Property owner, or even to a landed gentry. Then you think as a person that earns money in England, you are essentially taxed. You could count it 3 times in your life.
Oh yeah,
for what
they
you
do
earn.
the same on your pension as well.
Well, that's what I mean.
But what I was going to say is somebody did actually put a story. I don't know if you saw this one. That in the situation with gay marriage, they suggested that a father could marry the son.
Oh, this was Jeremy
that was Jeremy
Irons.
Irons,
Was
wasn't
that
it?
who it
Yes,
was? Oh,
yeah.
it was Jeremy Irons.
Yeah,
That's right.
but that was fascinating. I mean, the thing is, I mean, talk about the relating back to Thatcherism, but the Section 28, wasn't it? Was that Thatcher sort of?
That was that you can't promote homosexuality, wasn't it, in schools?
So that's one of the things I will admit that before I really come across as as essentially a Tory boy. Hello.
Well, we should
lovely,
explain it for the people that don't know, haven't seen the story, that Jeremy Irons is suggesting that if a father marries the son, you circumvent that whole
His suggestions in particular was that incest only relates to a heterosexual congress.
But he's saying you can get round the inheritance
which you can get round, which is a fascinating concept, but I think...
Now we've brought it up, maybe lots of people are going to do it.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. I mean, is someone going to set the precedent there if it comes through? I mean, I don't know. So I'm not going to. I love my father, but I'm already married. So
Yeah. Have you had the conversation?
yeah, Dad, I think it's time we ought to consider.
Well, what happens? So even if, say your father passed the... It's going to start sounding like Radio 4, so we need to sort of play some music soon. Not that I mind, because
Brilliant.
they have enough chav stuff all day. Did I say that in my outside voice? Yes, I did. Anyway, I forgot what I was saying.
Oh, scandal! We've uncovered it.
What was I saying? I'm relying on you.
God, don't rely on me. Whatever you do, scatterbrained as anything. We were vaguely going around.
So, could your father not hand over everything to you before he dies, or isn't there another way around it?
There are loopholes. There are grey areas. There's the 7-year rule, which
isn't there
which
just
is
so you could sell it to you for a squid?
I think that's a bit like the idea that the best time to back up your computer is just before it crashes.
Yeah.
Okay. But I'm just saying, couldn't he sell it to you for a quid?
Yes, but the problem being, of course, as one Ewan was saying, is that the best time to back up your computer before it crashes is that you're having to predate with it, as it's now lasting power of attorney. Rather, it used to be enduring power of attorney, which is that you assume the entire estate and power over the estate of your forebears or whatever. Is that if you do that, it means that the person who let's say your father, then you have entire control over their estate.
Shared?
Well, there's a shared power of attorney, absolutely. But the problem is, in order to do the 7-year, the old thing was the 7-year rule, which is that you transfer your estate by a stock transfer.
It would stop people killing their parents to get the inheritance, no?
It would, but it becomes in this thing about mental stability, which is an extremely difficult area as well. Because I mean, when you have to be signed over by a doctor in order to sign over a sort of lasting power of attorney and everything like that. And now the problem is, most people want to try and do this as late in their lives as possible. people. Now, I'm afraid the ravages of age are such that, you know, you do start to go a little bit senile. And at what point do you go, I think, okay, you're relatively senile enough to, now would be a good time to transfer, but you're relatively sentient enough to be able to be of sound mind to sign this incredibly powerful deed. Now, the problem is, the transference of power and influence is that I could say to my father, now, not that I'm earning an awful lot out of it, but, you know, I could say to my father, oh, Dad, you know, just transfer everything to me now. I'm 33. You know, he's going to be turning, you know, he's around the 60 mark sort of thing. Why, as a man who has potential decades left in his life, why would he be prepared to sign over everything that is the control of his life, his estate, to me? And then one could quite reasonably say that if I, you know, sprog over the next few years or something like that, that as a 5-year-old child, I pass over enduring power of attorney to my 5-year-old child. You know, at all times one has to consider the precedent in what you're doing.
I don't want to consider the president in anything I'm doing, mate.
Fine.
Except when I'm playing a bad song about them. Let's hope I'm playing the right song when I play this. But tell me if I'm not.